No, as many people, look, how many times in my career I've said, talk good about me, talk bad about me, just talk about me. And the philosophy behind that is, if you're talking about me, you could say, Shane Douglas is the shittiest wrestler I've ever seen. I hate his guts. I think he's a piece of garbage. If you're doing it online, you're spreading my name. So I don't see a negative in this for the promotion other than, putting a guy out there in that kind of a position that has that kind of world level respect. David Arquette's known in a lot of places outside of wrestling and now outside of, just doing movies or TV shows. So he's sort of transcending that. I can't give anybody. I'm a stalwart. Like, people always make fun of Virgil, right? And I've been on shows where I've flown to Boston and seen Virgil on a show and gotten up at 5 a.m. and caught a early flight back to Pittsburgh, and then driven 6, 7, 8 hours from Pittsburgh. And Virgil's at that show the next day, having driven overnight to get there. I can't begrudge a guy who's going to bust his ass to make $1. I can begrudge the guy that's the lazy piece of shit that thinks he's entitled and shouldn't have to do those types of things. One gets my respect and one gets my disdain. So for Arquette, again, as much as I've railed against his WCW title run, the fact that he's out there now at this age, 18 years later, not that any of us are spring chickens, but to go in and take that kind of a match against an experienced guy like Gage, that gets some level of respect. You can't really sell it any other way than that. Now, if you want me to rail against David for a second, I think he put himself in a very dangerous position, put himself in a situation that somebody like him at this stage of his life and career shouldn't be putting himself in. But it's the yin and yang. Which side do you fall down on that argument? And I think if nothing else, I think David Arquette has a deeper appreciation for professional wrestling and what somebody that's a full-time professional wrestler endures on a day-to-day basis.
He definitely loves the business. Definitely trying to basically make up for what happened in WCW because he knows so many fans were against it. But it's crazy to think that in 2018, one of the big bright spots to wrestling has kind of been his return to the ring and everything that's going on with him and his love and his affinity for wrestling. And it's pretty crazy to say 2018, he's kind of been stealing the show a little bit as far as wrestling is concerned.
Well, I mean, when you have a name like David Arquette has in our industry, when you walk in again, talk good, talk bad, just talk. When you have someone like Arquette stepping now back into the ring, some number of fans are going to skew it. Some number of fans will love it. And the rest of it falls into place. So, controversy is not a measurable thing. You can't say, well, if I do A and B, then it's going to lead to C, and we can measure it to this degree. Much like when we did the Gary Wolf Halo Throwdown. In hindsight, if I had known entering that ring that it was going to garner that kind of reaction from the crowd, it's very likely I would not have done it. Because it was scary as shit. But you can't really get to the point of measuring it until you've done it. So much like David Arquette, I would think, in this event, this crazy match that he was in, not until you're in it can you sit there and say, holy shit, I shouldn't be here. Or, hey, I'm hitting my stride. This is exactly where I should be. I would think David, if he were on the show right now, would voice his sentiment as being the former, not the latter.
Man, it's just crazy when you watch that and think, wow, he's definitely nuts to go ahead and do that match and do the death match and how it turned out. It's almost like, oh man, to anybody it would be terrible, but it's like, man, this is a pretty famous Hollywood actor here. What the hell is he doing? Pretty crazy, right. The passion that he has for the business, that he thought he could pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all know, because we're wrestling fans, right? We're marks, and so we get it. That somebody that, regardless of where they've excelled in their professional life, if you're a fan of this business and you have your toe in that door, no matter how slightly, and now you see him coming back and trying to validate what happened 18 years ago. He may succeed, he may not succeed, but I think he's going to garner some level of respect from the fans in putting himself in these kind of matches. I just hope that he doesn't, along the way, get hurt in the process.